Hello and welcome to
Today, my
another
guest
edition of
is.
Music in Widescreen. Neal Morse. Neal, it's great to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Good to be here, man.
it's great to have you here. Been a big fan since well, my origin story into progressive rock was I was wearing a Kevin Gilbert T-shirt to work, and somebody says, "Oh, you like progressive rock?" And I'm like, "What's progressive rock?" He's like, "Hold on," and he brought me a Spock's Beard CD, and my wife immediately fell in love with the song June, and I ended up loving the Doorway, and
Oh,
so
great.
it's been and then since then it's been an explosion for us, and we own progect.com, and we're all in, and we like everything basically that you've been a part of. So we've seen you live in a few different countries.
Oh,
So
okay. Well,
so
thank
big,
you, man.
big
Thank you so much for your listening.
Sure, sure. And thank you for adding a word to my vocabulary. Troika. I'm trying to get out of the way of it. Troika.
Right.
So a great word for the band. The three people kind of coming together to get a job done is kind of the generic definition of it. It has a couple of different meanings, including three horses and such. But
Yeah.
if we did use that one definition, it'd definitely be three stallions, because we've got three guys here that are just doing this all the time. Many projects, have solo projects and bands and things. And I typically don't have artists regurgitate what's on the press release, but I think it's worth you mentioning how this came together, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, not at all. So over the summer and in the fall of 2020, I started. Part of the reason why I started writing some of these kind of acoustic guitar folk songy oriented like three-part harmony songs was because of the environments that I was in. I was because of COVID, we we couldn't really fly anywhere. We couldn't. There wasn't many things that we could do. So Sherry and I decided that we would take her father on a bucket list trip
Oh,
in an RV across America.
nice.
And so we were, isolating and all of that, but we were at a lot of kind of remote campgrounds, and there I was playing acoustic guitar, and I just started writing a lot of these kinds of songs, and then it got me thinking, oh, it'd be fun to make an album like that, and then it was who would be good to make an album, of that kind with, and of course Nick came up immediately.
Okay.
Thinking of his voice, but also thinking of his songwriting, and I know that I know that he's written things that are kind of in that three-part harmony vein before, and because I think it's much more interesting. I wasn't really interested in just getting people to sing on what I had written, but I wanted to gather different artists together because I think it's so much more of an interesting listen.
Mhm.
I miss one of the things I loved about the Beatles was, oh, here's a George song. Oh, that's a different flavor. And, all of them. So it's nice to have different writers, different perspectives as well. And so that was something else that I was thinking about.
Mhm.
And of course, Nick was an obvious one, and he was really into it. I think I contacted him first, maybe in November or December of 2020, and then it was like, well, who's going to be the third guy?
and and of course Ross Jennings found his way to you. It says on the presser that you contacted him on the in late December. So
Yeah, it was because the reason why, I mean, I hadn't really thought of him. I was thinking, and I think I asked Nick to put his mind to it as well. And I was praying about it, really. I was like, well, who should be the third guy? And then it was right around that time that Roy had the idea to have, for the promotion of the Transatlantic Absolute Universe album, that we would be interviewed by peers. And
Mhm.
so Mike was interviewed by Ross,
Gotcha.
They had that conversation about the transatlantic absolute universe. And so it put Ross in my mind. I thought, well, hey, what about Ross? He's such a cool guy, has such a great voice. I've never heard him on anything like this. I wonder if he would be into it. And so I sent him an email and he just was like, dude, that's insane. I've already been writing a bunch of stuff like that. It was just a real divine situation, where it just all just came together in such a beautiful way.
Well, that's wonderful. I kind of got the opinion that you came with a bunch of songs, but now that I'm talking, it seems like the seeds for the songs were not just all you. Then is that the case? The opening?
No, I had a lot of songs and they had a lot of songs, and
Okay.
we started sending songs around to one another, and then picking what we thought were the best ones, and which is always a challenge. But yeah, and then the next step was to send the demos essentially around. We sent the tracks for the demos around to each other, and it was a really cool process listening to them turn my demos into records.
Right. Cool. So basically, everybody has composer credits on every song for the most part. Then, would you say?
No, it's
okay.
like there's only one co-write, and that's
Okay.
Julia.
Okay. Yeah, Julia.
When we worked on each other's songs, Julia was the only one where the song was really, really changed.
Okay.
The rest of them, we all just kind of took the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it"
Right.
attitude, and just kind of did whatever we heard. And sometimes there wasn't much missing. I mean, I've come to the place, particularly where I don't want to clutter up things.
Right.
A lot of my favorite records have a lot of space.
Right.
There isn't, when you listen to it, I'm like, man, there isn't much going on there, but like 3 instruments, and I just love it. So there were certain tracks of Nick's and Ross's that I would listen to and go, man, this is really close. I love it just like it is. I'll just add this little organ part, or maybe I think there's maybe 1 or 2 songs where all I did was just sing the bottom vocal, and that was it.
Right.
I mean, if it was good the way that was, man, just don't touch it.
Right. So that's pretty interesting. So let me ask you a question. It might be a little bit dangerous. So it was kind of the opposite of what you did with Transatlantic. Did you come in there and maybe kind of declutter maybe Transatlantic for the second iteration of the absolute universe, or do you want to get into that at all, or is that a little bit too off topic for you?
Oh, well, I mean, I can just give a brief answer.
Yeah.
The brief answer was somewhat. I think I tried to kind of pare it down, and I just as I've said before about that record, I felt like, as in the final analysis, maybe which was really unusual. I mean, I don't usually have that experience. Every album's a new experience. It's like having a child,
Right.
They're all different. But yeah, I did. I tried to clear some things out because I don't know. I just I tend to like sparser arrangements these days.
Yeah, I think that it's a natural progression, and I personally like the variance of it. It seems like it's almost like getting 2 albums for the and having different people orchestrate it. It's beautiful, and on many levels. So and so is this album. I need to ask you, are you guys playing all the instruments on this? Is it pretty much just the 3 of you? It seems to be.
Yes, except Nick asked Tony Levin to play on his song "If I Could."
Okay.
So, with the exception of the bass track on that song, everything else is the 3 of us.
That's amazing. So talented that you guys can do that. Who is playing bass most of the time then?
I played some of the bass. Nick played some of the bass. Okay. I don't think Ross played any bass.
Okay.
So it's either Nick or me.
Okay. That's very interesting. And I thought it was interesting in the presser. You got this quote about from Martin Luther King about change will come, but it'll be slow and it will bend towards morality. And is there a song that you think encapsulates that most, or is it just the whole body of work that?
Well, that's where I was coming from. That's what I was trying to say on the song "A Change Is Gonna Come."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when I was writing that, I wrote that song in the summer of 2020, when
Right.
there was so much trouble in America, and
Right.
so many people in distress, and yeah. So I think the second verse, I couldn't say it quite like the quote is, but that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard, what someone said, but I keep remembering what someone said, which would have been Martin Luther King, but I couldn't really
Yeah.
fit that in the lyric. Uh,
Exactly.
that how did I put it? That history's always moving towards what's righteous and good.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's quite a topic. Everybody might not agree with that.
Right.
It's sometimes in some ways, maybe I don't know if that's, I wouldn't say that's an absolute
Right.
truth,
Right.
but I like the idea of um that giving us, that gives me some peace
Right.
about that we can just relax and try to do good and be righteous in God's sight, and that things will get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's yeah, I think it's a great way to phrase it, that it is a nice thought. I think I see that history, that we have progressed in a way that is more righteous. So hopefully that is the case. And I really enjoy the harmonies. I have to say that when I first put it on, I didn't read the press release on it because I don't like it to color my first listen of it.
Oh
And
yeah.
as soon as I heard it, I'm like, holy Crosby, Stills and Nash. this is this is this is definitely for fans of maybe of those guys and others like them.
Yeah, and not just Crosby, Stills and Nash, but all
Right.
Nowhere Man, and
Right.
all the great Beatles 3-part harmonies, and also, they feel like there's a certain American
Mhm.
feeling, almost Laurel Canyon ish
Right.
kind of thing, which would also encompass. To me, it encompasses also that a lot of the folk artists of the time, like maybe Simon and Garfunkel,
Garfunkel, yeah.
a lot of Neil Young solo stuff.
Yeah, I hear
Uh,
Neil Young as well.
Even America,
Yeah.
I feel like is all that influence of
Right.
that kind of music.
Yeah. Does that I'm never sure how to approach that with an artist. Do you feel does it feel okay to be compared to other artists? Or I like to always phrase it as this is for fans of these artists and not so much because I hate to for people to interpret that it's derivative of these bands. It's just for fans of these bands. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that's always the thing. Like, oh, hey, were you ripping that off,
Yeah.
or is it I think I would like to talk about it as being like flavors.
Flavors. That's
It's
great.
like, if you're a chef, it's like you're
Mm.
using certain spices. You're
Abs-
using Italian spices or
Right.
whatever, but hopefully you're making your own dish
Right.
there. And that's in the ear of the beholder. It's really only really a matter of whether, when people put it on, are they excited? Are they blessed? Do they feel good? Is it causing them to think? Whatever the purpose of the piece is.
Mm-hmm.
Are they feeling something beautiful? Are they feeling something from heaven?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's what really matters.
Right. And did you feel like that this was going to be something you would come back to later on, the three of you together? And is this a one-off or what are you thinking right now?
I'm hoping that we do another one. I've already got voice memos in my phone. I wrote something just the other night while we were just watching the Australian Open
Ah,
tennis match and
yeah,
watching our grandson, and I was just kind of like plunking around with something. I thought, oh, that might be a nice idea for a trio song.
yeah,
So it's definitely kind of in my heart and mind. We haven't talked about it. I mean, every once in a while we'll go like, "Hey, when are we going to do another one?" But we haven't
right,
talked about it. Haven't talked about it seriously, of course, because this one hasn't been released yet.
right, right.
But yeah, as far as a new album or live shows, I think we're
Mhm.
all just kind of waiting to see how the album's going to be received. So far, if all the indicators are that it's going to be received really, really well.
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, you'd have to be like a real hardened fan of, you know, uh, some sort of avant-garde progressive rock for you to kind of like not not get involved with this one in an emotional way, because it is so pretty and the melodies are so strong, which is what I expect whenever I hear something from yourself, actually from any of the three of you. It is like I said, it's very beautiful, and I hope that you are able to play live. I'd love to see some of these things done live, and it would be a nice what's the word, like something in between bands to kind of relax to, get
Yeah,
involved in it, and just let it rush over you, you know.
yeah,
That's how
yeah.
I feel about this, and I certainly think that, you know, not everybody's going to get on board because it is softer, you know, and really scaled back, and some people aren't going to like that. But that's progressive rock, right? I mean, we're not making music to please everybody, right? We're here doing your thing, and you have plenty of projects. I mean, how much of your music creation is writing music, and how much is actually like project management? I mean, and B, you've got Transatlantic, of course, has busy people in it as well. Do you feel like you know, a lot of your job is just kind of getting people together and the timing of this stuff out?
Well, I mean, sometimes I'm the catalyst for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes other people are, involved in the organization of things.
Hmm.
I do a lot of that at night. Like I only
Okay.
have a certain amount of like what I call like, the main part of my energy is in the morning and, up to like noon to like 2 or 3. And then I do what I consider to be my secondary,
Uh-huh.
where I don't have to really have as much energy. I can sit down in a comfortable chair and maybe make some phone calls,
Right.
and then like at night I'll book travel.
Okay. Right.
I find that kind of relaxing in a way. It's funny,
That's
but I've,
awesome.
I've kind of figured out a way to divvy up my time, and I
Right.
try to use my prime creative time to do exactly that.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it's all good. I'm just really thankful to be able to do what I'm doing, and what a blessing to like work with people like Nick and Ross.
Right.
And that God's brought me to a place where guys like, I can call guys like that up and they really want to do it.
Hmm.
What my life was not always like that.
Right.
There was a time when I couldn't get arrested. Well, no, actually, I could get arrested. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can leave that
Uh,
for some other one. I I
so
actually
it's really great.
I,
Yeah.
I I do want to ask something kind of off topic, because I just talked with Arian today, and
Oh yeah.
if I could ask you how you got on, this will be a good question for my teaser. How did you get involved with that album? It's such a great song, and you do you sound great on it. Oh my gosh! So how did that all come to be? As far as that's like maybe the start of you getting kind of getting with other players, you know?
Are you talking about Ariane?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just contacted me. I think we were on the same label. So
Okay.
they said, "Hey, you mind if we give your email to,
Yeah.
this guy?" And I was out in LA, I think, visiting my family. The kids were little.
Okay.
So we took the kids out to California. Both my parents were still alive then.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so he just invited me to, gave me the studio address and, hey, would you come up and sing on this song? Yeah. Yeah,
It's simple as
it was
that.
a pretty much of a breeze, really. I think I was only there for a couple hours.
Oh, really? Just fly in, couple hours out, and then.
Yeah, well, I was already there in LA.
Oh, he was in LA.
Yeah, he was in LA working.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't
He had
know
a
that.
friend's studio in Woodland Hills, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing because yeah, I just when I play that song once in a while on the show, people are like, "Hold on, Neal's on a Harry track." I'm like, "Yeah," and it's outstanding.
Yeah, it's in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really outstanding. So do you get contacted a lot for guest work, or how does that go? And do you, I assume that's you get that all the time.
Not all the time.
Hmm.
I do get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be careful with it,
Yeah,
because not everything, I don't feel to do everything and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
yeah,
so I had to tell somebody recently, it's like, well, it was almost
yeah,
like, I'd love to do, I want to be kind to
yeah.
you, but I already told this other guy I couldn't do his. So if I do yours, I'm gonna make him feel bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a, but that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. And I would hope that anybody that has the nerve, I'll say I don't mean to put a negative connotation on it, but anybody that asks you to guest is comfortable with you saying no. Otherwise, don't ask, is my opinion. Uh,
Well, yeah, it's
yeah.
just sort of try and navigate the waters in the kindest way you can.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get back on the topic here. What is the best way for people to purchase this album? Is there any way that's more indicative, it's better for the band, or is it not really matter as far as that goes?
Yeah, it's better for the band. It's better for me, particularly if
Yeah.
you order from
Okay.
radiantrecords.com
Right.
or nealmorse.com. Yeah, if
Oh,
you order from there, that's more beneficial,
okay.
by a lot, actually.
Yeah, I had a feeling because you get retail instead of wholesale, right? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, well, essentially, the way the deals are structured these days, pretty much, um,
You don't have to get into specifics.
well, pretty much nothing recoups anymore.
Right.
So you get your advance
Same.
and that's it.
That's
So
it. Yeah.
if people buy it through Inside Out or Amazon or something, the band is essentially going to get nothing.
Right.
But if you buy it from Radiant, then I'll get a portion of the difference between wholesale and retails.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I always think it's worth asking because people that are buying physical media are, they do it in an attempt to help the band, and if there's a better way
Yeah.
to buy, definitely we'll.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And while you're talking about supporting the artist, Waterfall is great. So I have my own streaming app called
Okay.
Waterfall.
Okay.
And if you go to waterfallstreaming.com,
Okay.
you
We'll
can
put the link.
subscribe and then you have access on your phone wherever you are,
Okay.
and also on your computer, but
Right.
a lot of people, like, it's just so convenient just to listen from your phone.
Right.
And so that has everything I've ever done and exclusive stuff on it too. So Troika will be on there
Okay.
when it's released, and all kinds of other stuff. Transatlantic, Spock's Beard, Flying
Awesome.
Colors, Neal Morse Band, all of it.
and that's awesome. So it's Waterfall. We'll put the link in the video here so people can click on it. And
Yeah, it's waterfallstreaming.com.
waterfallstreaming.com. That's awesome. And it's great. Let me just give a little bit of a presser for that, because it's awesome, because if you have your phone, you got Bluetooth on your phone, you got Bluetooth in your car, you're listening to Neal right in your car just as easily as you would if you're listening to AM radio or FM radio. So it's a great idea. I'm glad that it's there.
Well, yeah, streaming is so great. Like, if you're skiing or if you're out on the beach,
right.
With your wireless speaker, you can have access to all this stuff, just like, it's sort of like, my mini little Spotify, only with all of my stuff and
Right.
a bunch of extras that aren't anywhere else too.
Right. That's awesome. And is if you could tell me just a little bit about the physical packaging, what do we have available? We have CD and vinyl or double vinyl, or what is going on with that? Actually, I should have looked. The CD
On
double
this
vinyl.
one, there aren't that many configurations. I think there's only the CD and the vinyl.
It's a double, right? It's a two, isn't it?
I think it's a double vinyl, yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't think you could fit it all on. I wanted to try to fit it all on one because I like
Yeah.
that, like I'm old school,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't fit.
Yeah. 44
So,
minutes is about all you got. So I don't think you're gonna be anywhere near that. So
yeah.
the double vinyls are nice, especially if they're a little bit heavier gauge. I just kind of like the chunkiness of it, and so
Yeah.
and there might even be. I think these are only black. I don't know if there's a color one. I don't see that in the press release.
There is a special Radiant color. If you order from Radiant, there's an exclusive color. Yeah.
All right, great. I'm glad that we mentioned that too. Is there anything else I didn't mention that I didn't ask you that we should mention at this time, Neal?
Let's see. Nothing I can think of particularly. I mean, the Neal Morse Band is going on tour in a few weeks.
Awesome. And can you give us the general idea of where it's going to be? I covered that, I think, with one other artist, but it was a bunch of countries in Europe, correct?
Well, we're in February. We're doing America. And there's also at nealmorse.com. You can get the VIP tickets also for that for the meet and greets and
right.
We're starting in New York on February 8th. Okay. And doing a lot of East Coast shows, and then Chicago.
Okay.
Fort Wayne.
Oh yeah, for Nick.
Yeah. And then we're flying to Seattle and LA and Phoenix. So yeah, you can look up all the Neal Morse Band tour dates. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff from Innocence and Danger, and then a lot of the just fan favorites and classics as well.
Okay.
And so then there's Transatlantic in America in April, and Morse Fest, where there's going to be we're going to be doing all Friday night is going to be the Whirlwind.
Okay, wow,
awesome. With real strings and horns and what have you, and other tracks, and then the Saturday night is going to be the Absolute Universe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's big, and then there's Cruise to the Edge with Transatlantic.
Right.
And then the Neal Morse Band at the end of May and June. Then we go to Europe, and it's a pretty extensive Europe tour for the Neal Morse Band there at the end of May and June. And then Transatlantic goes to Europe at the end of July. Oh, so a lot of tour dates for the first half of the year.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. I hope that everything goes well for you. Everybody stays healthy.
Yes. Thank you for your prayers.
Yes, and that's what I'll be thinking of. And I want to thank you for spending your time with me today. And good luck with all this stuff going on. And I hope to see you. I'm in Chicago. I will be at the Chicago show. And,
great! Yeah, bring all your friends. It's going to be killer.
You don't happen to know the venue, do you?
Yeah, it's at the Arcada.
Oh, it's at the Arcada. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a great venue, and it's run by a guy that really loves progressive rock, and so we like to support him as best we can.
Yeah. So I would guess I don't have the dates in front of me, but it's probably around like February 17th or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you get us right at the worst point of coldness in Chicago.
Right.
So, So enjoy that. I'm afraid, but definitely good luck on everything. I'm sure the album will do well, and those shows sound amazing. I think I'll have to check out. You didn't mention the date for Morris Fest. That was on Columbus Day last year? Is that the recurring theme, or is that just a COVID reschedule? I don't remember.
This one is all around Pete's schedule, and it's the last. This Morris Fest 2022 with Transatlantic is the last weekend of April.
Okay, so it's a very front-loaded year. So hopefully you'll fill in the back as much as you want to. I don't know if you're going to be done touring after April or May. So, but we will see you at least once on this tour.
Oh, great, man! Look forward to seeing you, man.
All right, take it easy, and thank you again for your time, and best of luck.
All right, you too. Thank you.